Hi everyone, I want to show you something amazing now that Google has made these tools available to 100 additional countries. The best part is that it is 100% free and unlimited, and I'm not kidding. So you guys should definitely take advantage of this while it's still free. I'm going to show you how to use Google's Whisk, which is so much fun to play around with. It allows you to upload multiple images that get merged together to create new imagery. And then I'll show you Google's text-to-image generator called Imagen 3, which can also output some fantastic results. So let's get started. This is very important. You can see over here in this article it says that Whisk, which is one of the features that I'll actually be showcasing, is not available in regions like India, Indonesia, the EU and the UK. Now if you guys can't access these tools, you are going to need to use some sort of VPN. Now there is one that you can use with Chrome. It's called Free VPN for Chrome. The link is in the description. When you install this in your browser, you'll be able to click on the icon over here, and then if you click over here you can choose another country, so any country that's not within those regions, for instance Singapore. And then when you click on this icon over here, it's going to connect to a new to that region and give you a new IP address, and your VPN will be activated. So then you can go ahead and try and refresh the links to ImageFX and Whisk and see if you can actually try accessing it. So if you check the link in the description, it's going to bring you over to Google Whisk. Just make sure you've got a Google account and that you're signed in. And once you see this page, just click on Start from Scratch so that we can actually head over to the user interface. So Whisk is a lot of fun to play around with. This allows you to upload multiple images, and then the AI is going to analyze those images, merge them together, and then generate a new image for you. So we've got subject, scene, and style. So for subject, this can be a human being or an animal. I've already generated an image with Imagen 3, so I'll drag and drop it over here. For my scene, I've got an image of a park with some beautiful flowers, so I'll drag and drop it here. And then here by style, you don't have to drag and drop an image every single time. You can just generate a image on Whisk just by clicking on enter text. So for the style of this image, I want it to be 90s anime, and then I'll click on generate and it will generate an image for me. So you can see after it analyzes the images, if it's good to go, you'll see a yellow tick like this. So I'm just going to wait for it to finish analyze this. All right, so everything is good to go in this case. And over here I actually don't even need to type in a prompt at all. I'm just going to click on this button to generate an image that combines all of these elements together. So without typing a prompt or giving it any sort of guidance, the AI has analyzed all of these elements and given me something that looks really cool, right? We've got this image in the style of anime, we've got inspiration from this image with the flowers, and then of course we've got our subject in the scene, which is this elderly man wearing a blue suit. So I think it did a really good job combining these elements together to generate a brand new image. So of course you can give the generation a bit more guidance by actually typing in a prompt over here. So for instance, I can say an elderly man riding a bicycle in a park. Alright, so now I'm giving it some more context and I'm going to click on generate and let's see what it does. And here we go with a little bit more context. It's still respecting all of these elements, but generating something completely new that also adheres to this prompt. So this is a really cool way to generate an image with some sort of guidance, all right? Whether it's your subject, your scene, or a style, I think Whisk does a very good job of generating new images. Another very cool feature, so whenever you hover over the image, you'll see that there is a refine button. If I click on that, I can now adjust this image. Now, of course, it's still going to generate a brand new image, but I can adjust certain elements over here. So instead of him wearing a blue suit, I can say, make the suit pink, right? Just by using natural language. I'll click on this generate button and you'll see how it's actually going to change the color of his suit. So this is the new image that it generated. Now it tried its best to respect the overall composition. Again, it is a brand new image, but his suit is pink in this case. And I think it's amazing that you can just edit elements of an image just by using natural language. Also, whenever you click on an image, you can see a more detailed prompt that's actually been generated to generate that image while respecting all of the elements. So if you wanted to see how it's broken down, this is the prompt that's actually used to bring this image to life. So some very cool features over here that you can use with Whisk. You're also not limited to just having a single subject. If you click on add more and then click on subject, it'll add in another subject box over here where you can either use, text to image to generate an image, or just drag and drop an image over there. And so now the AI is going to analyze all of these elements and still give me a final result. But I am going to give it some context. I said an elderly man wearing a beige fedora and an elderly female are sitting on a bench talking to each other. I'll click on generate and I'll see what it ends up giving me. So I know it's not the best tool for character consistency, but you can definitely use it for storytelling. I mean, every single image over here is using these elements, and then I'm providing context. So we've got this old man, in the park. He's riding his bicycle. Then there's a scene with him eating ice cream. A cat joins him on one of the park benches, and now we've got a second character in the scene. So you can see we're essentially telling a little bit of a story over here. So now he's got a friend that he can chat to. So I think Whisk is really a lot of fun to play around with and just experiment with it. Now you can also add more than one style. However, you can only use one style at a time. So you click on add more and then you click on style. In this case, I just described a style over here that says made out of Play-Doh. And then for my prompt over here, the context that I gave it, you can see I said elderly man wearing a beige fedora and a blue suit sitting on a bench in a park. Then I said everything is made out of Play-Doh. And this is the result that it ends up giving me, which is really cool. So now I can switch to another style, which is a charcoal sketch. And then over here, I would just keep the same prompt, but maybe say, in black and white in the style of a charcoal sketch. And then I get something like that. So you can see how it just takes inspiration from all of these elements to give you these unique outputs. And I really think that Whisk is just so much fun to mess around with. The same applies for environments. You can have multiple images of environments and then obviously just give it some context so that you get a better result. If you want the AI to throw some random ideas at you, just click on this dice and it's going to generate an image for the subject, the scene, and the style. So the style that it gave me over here, that actually looks really beautiful. I can maybe select that, and this is just another way to get additional ideas. Right? Maybe this time you want a Shiba Inu instead of a man, or the man and the Shiba Inu are now in this underwater environment in this style. So that's just another way to collaborate with the AI because it can obviously give you some ideas you probably never thought of. If you guys want some more inspiration, you can actually click on these three lines over here and you can access the templates. So you can see these images that have been generated over here are using a template called enamel pin. And you can see that the results that it ends up giving you while referencing this image are actually really cool. So try out the templates. I mean, you can create something with a chocolate box, there's capsule toys, stickers. So give that a try. This is important. This is actually where you change your aspect ratio for the images that get generated. So by default, it's on landscape, but you can also do square and portrait. And then if you want to, you can download all of the images that you've generated as well. If you actually want to see all of your generations, just click on My Library. It'll bring you over to this page, and now you can see everything that you've generated. You can also click on these three dots to delete or download these images. Alright, so check the link in the description. It's going to bring you over to this page, which is Google's ImageFX. Now, all you're going to need over here is a Google account. So once you've signed in, you'll be able to access this page. So ImageFX uses Imagen 3 to generate images using text to image. Now, Imagen 3 is actually not new. It's been around for a couple months, but they've made some major improvements to it with the overall quality of the images that get generated as well as prompt adherence. So let me show you how it works. Using Google Imagen 3 is super simple. This is where you type in your prompt. If you actually don't have a prompt in mind, you can just click on this icon over here that says I'm feeling lucky, and it's just going to roll the dice for you and generate a random prompt and then generate 4 images. So every time you generate something over here, you'll always get 4 outputs, which is awesome. So I'm actually going to type in a prompt over here. A squirrel driving a go-kart made out of a walnut on a racetrack. So before I click on create, here at the bottom you can see that the current model is on best quality and it's powered by Imagen 3, and this is where you control your aspect ratio as well, right? If you want something vertical or horizontal. So now I'm going to click on create and just let it generate those 4 images for me. So these are the 4 images that it gives me, and as you can see, Google Imagen's 3 prompt adherence is very good. I mean, we've got a squirrel, it's in a go-kart that's made out of a walnut, and it's on a racetrack, so it's adhered to everything within the prompt. Now you'll see whenever you hover over an image, you'll see some other icons pop up. So this icon over here allows you to bookmark your image. It's a way to favorite the image. So if you've generated multiple images, this will just be an easier way to find it, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. And then of course, the very important icon, this is how you download your image. Now here on the left, I actually did not explain seed. So seed is actually a really good way to generate images with more variety. Well, it specifies it over here. This means that when this is unlocked, the images that get generated are going to obviously contain more variety. So you might get some images, like in this case, you know, I've got a squirrel wearing a black helmet over here. This image has more motion blur applied onto it. This one actually has some more decals on the actual go-kart itself, so it just gives you more variety. Now, if you liked the images that were generated over here, you can lock in that seed, and it's actually going to give you similar outputs to this. Right? So it's going to, you know, copy over the composition, and whatever it sees over here, it will just give you similar results. So that's how seed works. Now, I usually just leave that unlocked because I like to see more variety, but it's good that it gives you more control as well if you need it. So now if you want to access a directory to see all of your generated images and even the ones that you've bookmarked, you just need to click on your icon over here at the top right and go to My Library. So it's going to bring you over to this page, and now you can see all of the images that you've generated with Imagen 3. And any image that you've clicked on bookmark, you can see it's placed over here at the top. So that just makes it really easy to find that single image or multiple images that you've really liked. So over here you can obviously click on these 3 dots and you can download or even delete that output. So with Imagen 3, we can use basic prompts like this to generate images, but I'm going to recommend that you guys be a little bit more descriptive because it gives you more control over what's actually being generated in your image. For instance, with this image, I use the following prompt. So over here you can see I said a squirrel wearing a red helmet. So now I've specified what color the helmet should be, and then I said it's driving a go-kart made out of a walnut, and now the go-kart has the number 1 written on it, which is visible over here. I said the go-kart has black tires and red rims, which is also present. And now I've also specified what the actual track should be. So I said it's a dirt track with race markings and some flags. So you can see the prompt adherence is amazing in this case, and it's adhered to everything. And by being more descriptive, I just have more control over the output. Now you guys can obviously make more descriptive prompts on your own, or you can use ChatGPT. So with ChatGPT, you can basically say to ChatGPT, make this prompt more descriptive, but also keep it concise. So it's going to make it more detailed, as you can see over here, but it's not going to make an extremely long and lengthy prompt, because ImageFX doesn't need prompts that are paragraphs long. It'll actually start losing context and you won't get everything appearing in your image. So if it makes it a little bit more detailed, but also concise, so something like this is going to be perfect. I'll actually take this prompt and I'll generate an image using that prompt from ChatGPT. So you can see what this does when you are a little bit more descriptive with your prompts. It just gives you more control. Right, so I'm going to use the ChatGPT prompt, click on create, and I'll also show you those images. So this is the result that it gave me from the ChatGPT prompt. Now obviously you can add other elements in here. You can maybe say the squirrel's wearing a red scarf or specify the color of the rims. But this image over here I think best describes this prompt, because it mentions over here that this squirrel, the wind ruffles its fur while it leans into a sharp turn. So over here it definitely looks like it's leaning into this turn. And again, good prompt adherence with some really good and high quality results with the images that get generated. So ImageFX includes its own Inpainting feature, but I'm going to be completely honest, it is terrible. This one needs a lot of improvement, but I'll still show you guys how to access it in case you want to give it a try. First of all, the biggest limitation is that you can only do Inpainting with images that are generated in a square format, so 1:1 aspect ratio. Once you've generated some images, if you hover over the image, you can just click on Edit Image and it'll bring you over to this page. So Inpainting is a way to add new things into an image or to change parts of an image. So for instance, this girl's wearing a red leather jacket. If I draw a mask over the jacket and type in something like a yellow leather jacket, the AI is basically going to inpaint something new. So you can see I can adjust the brush size over here, and I'll just paint over this region of the jacket. Alright, just like this. It's quite a rough mask, but the AI will do its job. Once I've done that, I just need to type in a prompt over here. So I'll say a yellow leather jacket and then click on generate edits. Now this does take a little bit longer than generating an image, but you'll see that the Inpainting is going to change this part of the image to adhere to this prompt. So as you can see, it does not do a good job. It doesn't make the entire garment yellow. There's also these strange inconsistencies. And yeah, to be honest, it's just not good. They definitely need to improve this. You can do much better Inpainting with Flux, or on freepik.com, the Inpainting there is also much better. But I thought I'll just show you guys that you can do Inpainting with ImageFX. It just needs improvements. Now, one more tip, if you guys are going to mess around with Inpainting, you know that it's in a square format. So the way to turn a square image into a horizontal image like this is quite simple. So this is called Outpainting, which is something that ImageFX does not have. If you check the link in the description, it will bring you over to this page. You just need a Hugging Face account, and then once you sign in, you'll upload your image over here, and you select the aspect ratio 16:9, which is a wide aspect ratio, and then you just simply click on generate, and it will turn a square image into a horizontal image, just like this. So this is free Outpainting that you can do using Hugging Face. So Imagen 3 completely excels at generating realistic imagery, whether it's fashion photography or cinematic imagery. It does a really good job, but you're not just limited to that. You guys can also try different styles. So this is where you can get really creative. So for instance, I wanted to generate some images that look like a charcoal sketch drawing, and some of these results really look amazing. I tried another one with knitted wool, and even a world that's crafted from Play-Doh, and another one that looks like it was created out of origami paper. Then I also tried, merging something that contains realism and graffiti. So now we've got our, our squirrel on that go-kart, but this time it's graffiti on a wall. But then I've got the realism of this father and his son actually looking at the graffiti. So get creative over here. Think of other styles. You can use Google to search for different art styles as well, and give it a try. So have fun and create some magic. Imagen 3 also has extremely strong censorship. It's probably some of the strongest censorship I think I've ever seen. You can't generate any nudity, any NSFW images. Even if your prompt includes the word child or teenager, it's going to be filtered out. So keep that in mind. If you're going to use Imagen 3, there's going to be a lot of censorship that's included as well. But you'll still be able to generate some amazing images, but you might encounter some issues along the way where you'll have to adjust your prompt. So that's going to be the end of this tutorial. Now you guys let me know what you think. I personally think that Imagen 3 can generate some amazing looking images, and then Whisk is just a whole lot of fun to mess around with. Anyway, you guys are super awesome, so stay tuned for some more videos and tutorials, and goodbye.